You know that feeling when you tell yourself, I just need to feel motivated, and then spend the next hour scrolling your phone waiting for that spark? Maybe it's you, maybe someone you know, who believes that motivation is the secret sauce for success. Here's the truth. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like a weather pattern, unpredictable and unreliable. I learned this the hard way. Chasing motivation, waiting for energy to strike, and watching days slip through my fingers. Eventually, I realized that if I wanted consistent results, I had to quit relying on motivation and build something far more reliable: real discipline. Today, I'm going to walk you through what that shift looks like, how it rewires your brain, and why it makes action inevitable, even when motivation deserts you, so that you don't waste time waiting for inspiration to appear. The first mindset I had to confront was the motivation junkie. Picture me every morning, making elaborate plans, telling myself I'll start when I feel inspired, and then staring at the ceiling for 20 minutes. Motivation junkies are addicted to the emotional highs of starting strong, but falter when inspiration fades. Neuroscience explains why. The brain's reward system lights up with novelty and emotional spikes, but routine, sustained effort doesn't trigger the same instant feedback. Motivation junkies chase a dopamine hit instead of building a system. Maybe it's you, maybe someone you know, who can launch big ideas with fire but fizzle out after the first obstacle. The shift begins when you accept that action comes first, emotion follows second. Discipline isn't thrilling, it's reliable, consistent, and quietly unstoppable. Then there's the willpower overloader. This is the type who tries to fight laziness with sheer force of will, telling themselves, I just need more self-control. You've probably done it, resisting every distraction, saying no to snacks, forcing yourself through tasks until your brain collapses under the weight of decision fatigue. Neuroscience shows that willpower is a finite resource. The more you rely on it alone, the faster you burn out. The trick is to design your environment and habits so you're not constantly using willpower. Small routines, consistent cues, and micro habits turn effortful actions into automatic behaviors. Maybe it's you, maybe someone you know, who feels exhausted by trying harder instead of working smarter. Discipline is less about fighting temptation and more about structuring life, so the right choice is the easiest one, so you act without thinking twice. Another profile is the perfection paralytic. Imagine staring at a blank page or a gym mat, thinking, I can't start unless it's perfect. Perfection triggers fear, which inhibits action. The prefrontal cortex overanalyzes every potential mistake, while the amygdala signals risk. Motivation alone can't overcome this freeze. Discipline, on the other hand, thrives in imperfection. It doesn't care about feeling ready or inspired. It prioritizes doing, learning, and improving. Maybe it's you, maybe someone you know, who waits for conditions to be ideal before taking the first step. The breakthrough is embracing small, imperfect actions starting anywhere, refining along the way, and letting progress itself generate the motivation you were waiting for. Then there's the reactive starter. This type only acts when deadlines loom, pressure spikes, or external accountability appears. They chase motivation like a cat chases a laser pointer. Action feels forced until the crisis disappears, and then inertia returns. Neuroscience explains this as an over-reliance on extrinsic triggers. The brain responds to external pressure, but doesn't develop intrinsic systems for sustained action. Discipline solves this by replacing reactive triggers with routine and identity-driven cues. Daily rituals, consistent scheduling, and automatic decision-making reduce the brain's dependence on fleeting emotions. Maybe it's you, maybe someone you know, who waits for stress to light a fire. Real discipline creates its own internal ignition, making momentum consistent instead of sporadic. But here's the twist. Building discipline doesn't mean becoming robotic or joyless. It means creating a feedback loop that rewires the brain for consistent action. Neuroscience shows that repeated structured behavior strengthens neural pathways in the basal ganglia, the brain's habit hub. Over time, what once required effort becomes automatic. Drinking water every morning, writing for 10 minutes, or committing to one push-up a day might seem trivial, But these small acts wire your brain for action. Motivation is unreliable. Discipline is permanent, invisible, and quietly powerful. Another element is accountability. Social neuroscience reveals that humans respond strongly to perceived social expectations. Reporting progress, sharing goals, or even journaling privately triggers reward pathways and reinforces consistency. Discipline leverages these mechanisms instead of waiting for fleeting inspiration. Maybe it's you, maybe someone you know, who assumes self-motivation must be internal and struggles alone. External structure acts like a scaffold, supporting action until it becomes effortless, and your brain starts expecting results rather than waiting for moods. Reflection is the final cornerstone. Daily review, even for 5 minutes, allows you to link behavior with results. Metacognition strengthens neural connections that reinforce productive patterns and weakens procrastination loops. Discipline grows when you notice triggers, habits, and energy patterns, allowing you to adjust before inertia takes over. This is not judgment, it's strategic learning. The brain loves patterns. The more consistent the feedback loop, the more automatic disciplined behavior becomes. Motivation becomes a bonus, not a requirement. So, how do you put all this together? Start by quitting the chase for motivation. Identify which mindset is holding you back. Are you a motivation junkie, willpower overloader, perfection paralytic, or reactive starter? Then implement small, consistent actions. Use environmental cues, micro habits, accountability, and reflection to replace reliance on fleeting emotion. Discipline builds quietly, invisibly, and relentlessly. Motivation will follow naturally once action is routine. Reflect for a moment. How often do you wait for inspiration instead of starting anyway? How many days pass because you're chasing a feeling instead of committing to a process? Discipline is the skill that transforms potential into progress. It doesn't depend on energy spikes, enthusiasm, or luck. It depends on daily choice, structured habits, and consistent action. Start today. Pick one small action, one micro habit, or one routine to execute immediately. Pair it with an environmental cue or accountability mechanism. Commit to reflection each evening. Repeat daily. Watch momentum replace hesitation, and results follow. Motivation will eventually catch up, but you'll no longer rely on it. Discipline makes success inevitable, even on days when energy is low and inspiration is absent. Which mindset do you recognize in yourself? How does it feel to imagine a life where action flows naturally, regardless of motivation? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Notice patterns, test small habits, and observe the transformation. Motivation is unreliable, but real discipline? That's permanent, invisible, and unstoppable. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Hit the like button if this helped you.